The year is 2009, and I first came across an AMV of Gogeta vs Janemba with the song Easier to Run. From there, the road was paved for a quick fall in love with Dragon Ball. Why am I telling you this experience? Because Sparking Zero is the closest I've come to reliving that unforgettable moment since. As a child, I didn't have powerful game consoles, so the Dragon Ball game I played for hours was the browser game Dragon Ball Devolution. Over the years, I played and finished Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, but I never became part of the Tenkaichi Budokai fanbase. So, when Tenkaichi Budokai 4 was announced, I was hyped because it was a Dragon Ball arena game with 1,000,000 characters, not because it was a continuation of the popular series from decades ago. Now that I've had the chance to play and experience what Sparking Zero has to offer, it's time for a review. So welcome to the lazy review of Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Sparking Zero is a Dragon Ball arena game featuring 3D battles on open maps, unlike the usual fighting game format. In my view, Dragon Ball games are a different breed, and the arena setup suits them well. The chaotic, fast-paced battles, rapid changes, huge explosions, and flying make this format perfect for showcasing those features. With that out of the way, it's time to dive into the heart of this review, the battle system. It's important to note that I'm not a pro gamer, nor competitive, but as a semi-pro, good enough against friends and family, always embarrassed online. I can say this battle system is wild. When I first saw the trailers and early gameplay, everything looked chaotic and strange. However, there's something instinctive about the system. It seems to adapt to the player. Everything flows smoothly and it's easy to pick up. I won't lie though, sometimes it feels like certain mechanics work randomly, like dodging with a block when your opponent is mid-combo. But honestly, that's probably the noob in me talking. What's more, Sparking Mode feels overpowered. From my experience, it's a mode that's too easy to trigger and too hard to avoid. It would have been better if they made it harder to access or limited its use in battles because it can be spammed endlessly. Honestly, my only problem with the battles is mainly against the AI. When fighting in a water environment, the AI tends to stay under the sea and not come out. It kind of disrupts the flow of the battle. But this is simply because the AI in its normal settings is relatively passive. You can change the playstyle of the AI using items from the store, so it's not really a problem. Okay, so the combat does feels like Dragon Ball, but what about the rest? Unfortunately, I'm let down by the story mode. For the most part, it's just a retelling of the plot from different characters' perspectives, with a cute twist of what-if scenarios. For example, what if Goku fought Raditz alone? Although on paper, the what-if ideas seem genius, their execution is quite disappointing. From my perspective, the best moments are in the Saiyan saga at the start of Ziv, but the quality drops off quickly after that. The alternate stories feel either lazy or too short and lack any real consequences. It feels like the developers focused on making the start of the mode impressive, then started cutting corners as the story progressed. In a series like Dragon Ball, there's so much potential for crazy and wild what-ifs, but most of the scenarios end up being dull and too close to the original story. I wanted them to push the boundaries, explore uncharted territory, and take the story beyond the original sagas. Why not show how those choices would affect the future? Let me see the ripple effects of these alternative plots. I would have preferred they invest more in the alternate story modes, even if it meant sacrificing the normal story mode, which we've all played countless times in other Dragon Ball games. Quick tip, if you're struggling against Vegeta in ape form, charge up to Sparking Mode and spam Kamehameha and the ultimate on him.
Then something just snapped, something inside of me. I didn't care anymore. I didn't care about being better than Kakarot.
This works on any tough opponent in story mode. The story mode mainly consists of slideshows, and most of the cutscenes are built using the game's engine, which looks awkward. In my opinion, this feels like a lazy solution, but honestly, I wasn't expecting much from a game like this, unlike something more exposition heavy like Kakarot. There's also a custom battles mode, with hundreds of scenarios created by other players or pre-made options. Once again, this sounds promising, but the execution falls flat. The pre-made scenarios are bland and odd, especially with the English translation. Something in the original Japanese translation makes them feel off, and overall they're bizarre. These aren't deep story-driven what-if scenarios, they're more like glorified battles against a computer. Personally, that's a big letdown. Okay, now let's talk about other modes. Wait, who are you?
Give me that microphone, monkey. I'm taking over this broadcast. Hello, monkeys and minions. I, Lord Frieza, give you a chance to continue living your miserable lives. You just have to subscribe to the channel and give a like. I'm sure even monkeys know how to do that. And if you don't, well, you can ask Vegeta what happens. Trust me, it will rhyme with oblivion. Anyway, take this microphone back, monkey.
Okay, sorry about this. It was just the voices in my head taking over this video, so let's continue. There's also a tournament mode. On the surface, it looks like there are different tournaments, but after going through them all, I didn't notice much difference beyond the announcer's commentary. Whether it's Yamcha in the Yamcha games or Zeno in the Tournament of Power, the game does offer other features like a gallery where you can listen to character narrations and a shop where you can purchase new characters, since not all are unlocked from the start. But I didn't spend much time on these since the main focus is the battles, not the extras. Now, let's talk about what you've probably been waiting for, online play. There's something exciting about fighting against real players instead of the AI, which can become predictable. And truthfully, I enjoyed the few online battles I got to play. But why only a few, you ask? Well, as of the time this review was written, the Xbox servers are broken. Matchmaking can take up to 40 minutes, making it almost impossible to find an opponent. For me, this is a joke. It's 2024, and a game of this scale, with its price, should have fully functioning online services from day one. What's worse, it seems like only Xbox players are affected. So, if online play is crucial to you and you're on Xbox, I'd suggest holding off on buying. The local co-op is fantastic, but it's frustrating that there's only one map for it, especially since this feature is a staple of these games. There's something incredibly satisfying about pulling off a 50-move combo against your friend. It's hard to explain, but it's amazing. The character roster is impressive, featuring tons of characters, and yes, all 30 variations of Goku feel distinct. Even the supposedly weaker characters feel great if you take the time to learn them. The fact that the core mechanics are the same for all characters, aside from their special moves, makes switching between them smooth. That's a good thing when your game has 189 characters. Another thing that bothers me, but it's more of a Dragon Ball problem from recent years, there is no blood in the game. It takes the impact and difficulty out of the fights themselves. The most prominent example of this was in the cutscene of Trunks cutting Frieza. Oops, spoilers, but your problem if you haven't seen this Immortal series yet, this simple thing makes the whole game look very toy and childish. But again, this is a widespread problem of Dragon Ball in general. In conclusion, Sparking Zero is, in my opinion, the ultimate Dragon Ball game. The battles are cinematic and thrilling, with endless fun to be had. It's just a shame that the surrounding content is so lackluster and mediocre. I'd recommend waiting for a discount if you're not in a rush to play, but even if you buy it at launch, you won't be disappointed. This is the ultimate Dragon Ball experience. Dragon Ball. Sparking Zero gets 7 stars out of 10 on the Donkey Index. Now I'm off to fire another Kamehameha.
You